You do not need to actually start an AI company to own an AI company. And I'm going to explain exactly how you can own a part of a company with $100 or even less. And this is how you can go about doing it. Now, I remember when I started my journey with investing, I had to go through a bit of a mental reframe, because when I was younger, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had this thought process that I wanted to know I was a business owner. I wanted to know that at a certain point when I sign out of my life or get into the slower part of life, that I owned a business. I just had this thought pattern. But I started to challenge myself, question myself in a way, and say, well, why do I want to own a business? Like, what is it about that? And I hesitated a bit because I thought, well, I guess I want freedom, and I want time freedom, and I want to be able to be in a situation where I just know I owned a company. But I started to find that my rationale was quite weak, and ultimately I just wanted a life where I was able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, when I want. In other words, I wanted a level of freedom and flexibility that allows me to be out here right now. I mean, I only have to walk a couple of minutes to be here, and I can really pretty much live my life on my own terms. So a lot of it came down to that. And the more I thought about actually starting, running and operating a company myself as an individual, I could see how it was really making it quite difficult for me to be in a position where I could do what I want, when I want, with who I want, when I want, because I'm always accountable. I'm always on. As the business owner, it's very difficult to take time off. It's very difficult to put yourself in a position where you can do these types of things because you've got a company that's reliant on you. Don't get me wrong, there's a rise of solopreneurs and people who have been able to build out and delegate, but you're always on, right? And I know a lot of very wealthy business owners that, yeah, it's taken them some time to build their companies and get to a place where they have a lot more freedom, but in some ways, many of them have lost so many years of fun and enjoyment and fulfillment because they've just been so buried in that build process. So you've really got to ask yourself some questions about what are you doing it for, why are you doing it, and what's the net outcome that you're looking for by virtue of the decision that you're making. And so the point I'm making here is that I started to think about, well, how can I satisfy that feeling of ownership, but by doing it a different way, a way that doesn't conflict with my desire to be able to be out here, record this type of content, and actually enjoy my life. And I started to realize I can become a business owner and actually an owner of multiple companies in a de-risked way, where I have an army of employees basically working on my behalf to be able to help me to sustain and to grow wealth. And this is where the journey of stock investing really started to take flight. Because if you look at it, you've got tons of artificial intelligence companies that are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, or the public markets as we would call it. And when we say the public markets, it simply means that you can buy a share, you can buy a stock in one of these companies as a member of the public. There's tons of AI companies out there, such as Big Bear and Tempus and a number of others, right, that are in defense or healthcare or very, very hot spaces right now. You can simply buy one share. I mean, in Big Bear, as I record this video, one share in that company, it's a defense-based artificial intelligence company, is about $7. So for $7, you can buy a share, you can buy a piece of that company. And that means for all of the success that that company has, right, you get to share in that win. So if they continue to have success and their stock price goes from $7 to $14, whatever money you invested is doubled. So if you put in $7, you now have 14. If you put in $1,000, you now have 2,000. If you put in 10,000, you now have 20,000. And if you put in 50,000, you now have 100,000. You've got other companies such as Tempus, which is a healthcare-based AI stock, for example. They're averaging, the last time I looked, about $58 per share. So again, if you made an investment, just bought one share there, cost you $58. If that then doubles to $120, you've now again doubled your money. So if you put in 100 grand, you now got 200. And that's let alone if those companies continue to grow and grow and grow and one day become like Meta or Tesla or one of those companies where their stock price gets into the several hundreds, then your money may have quadrupled or even more. So when you look at it, at the moment and at the point that you invest, you become a business owner. you own a part of those companies. All of the employees are now, in many ways, working on your behalf, because everything that they do to help to grow and sustain that business, you share in the success. You capitalize on that. And so this way, you can, in essence, build a portfolio of businesses without you having the headache and the legwork of everything that would go into having to run and navigate those businesses day to day. So this is the simplest, easiest, and most effective way to become a business owner in a de-risked manner without all of the headaches that go along with it, but still being able to benefit in the upside of the success of that company. So it becomes an absolute no-brainer, because the only thing stopping you from where you are right now and making this decision is, in essence, choosing to join one of the platforms, depositing a little bit of cash, and then making the decision to deposit some money, and your journey immediately starts from there. Now, the bit that you've got to think through is the decisions that you choose to make on the stocks that you invest in. And this is a really important part, because ultimately you want to be in a position where you choose companies that are innovating for the future, that are going to have a sustainable future, that are going to be able to have great growth potential, because of course you're in this to be in a situation where those stock prices continue to rise. And for as long as the stock prices continue to rise, you'll then continue to win by virtue of that. And so you do need to take the time to research these companies, look at the industries that they're in, think about, are these growing or rescinding industries? Look at their leadership teams. Are there great leaders, right? You look at a company like Meta, and a big part of the success that they've had is because of Mark Zuckerberg. No matter what people think of him, he's a great innovator, one of the best of our generation, right? Same thing with Elon Musk, right? No matter what you think of him, he's been able to have phenomenal success. And so that underpins the companies he works for, or has created. And so it takes a certain type of person to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. And that might be you, but it also might not be you. And there is a way in a scenario where you can get wealthy, working in a 9-to-5 job, doing other things in your life, owning pieces of businesses, and then putting yourself in a position where you can build wealth over time without all of the things that go into actually running, owning, and operating a business day to day. So instead of doing it the way that you've been thinking about it, become a business owner by buying stock. Own many pieces of multiple different companies, capitalize on their success, take the time to do the research on the types of companies that will be set to thrive and will set to innovate over the generation to come. And then you become a winner every single time that they are winning as well. So I hope this video has been helpful. Check out the links I've left in the description box below to continue the journey. Until then, keep climbing, and I'll see you on the next one.